Today we're going to start with creating our photogram, and the first part of the process is to begin in the white light with our sheet of glass. So go ahead and bring out the glass from your enlarger space into the classroom with white light, and you're going to spend some time arranging your objects. So I would choose 3 to 4 different types of objects. Please bring some from home. I encourage you to try a lot of different things on test strips before you commit to those final objects for your 8x10. So I've seen a lot of the same objects over the years because of the collection that I have in class, so please don't rely on my objects, but try to supplement here or there for some things I have and some things from home. So you could see that I'm arranging very carefully all my objects on the glass, considering rule of thirds, overlap, maybe a little bit of framing. But this is what I'm kind of coming up with, trying different things out in the white light before I take it into the dark room. Now that you're set up at your enlarger station, you're going to adjust the light on your enlarger by moving the house lamp as far up as it'll go on the stand. Once you've reached the highest point, go ahead and turn your aperture to the brightest setting. This is going to help you focus the edge of your light. You want it to fill the baseboard. So go ahead and move the glass aside and use the focusing knob to focus the edge of the light, as crisp of an edge as you can get it. When you're happy with the focusing, go ahead and move your glass back into the center. And then we're going to set our aperture for all our prints today at 11, which is the second from the dimmest setting on your lens. So I just count 2 from the bottom. Now we're going to set the timer, so make sure that it's off and on time. We're going to set it for 25 seconds for all our test strips. And then when you're ready, go ahead and test your timer out, make sure that it's ticking along, and set it back to 25. With the lights off, I've set my timer and started it for 25 seconds. And using the board at my station, I'm going to block off 5 different sections on my test strip. So every 5 seconds, I'm going to move my board just about 1.5 inches. When I get to 5 seconds, I'm going to move it off completely. Now I'm ready to process my paper. The first tray is the developer. So go ahead, submerge your test strip in the developer, push down all 4 corners and begin to agitate. You're going to start to see your image appear quite quickly. And once you're satisfied with it, make sure that your test strip's in there for at least 30 seconds. You can go up to 2 minutes if you'd like. Drip your test strip for at least 5 seconds to avoid contaminating between trays. And then you're going to set your test strip in the quick rinse. And quick rinse is just a few seconds, just making sure that it's fully submerged. I would agitate it just for a few seconds. Just rinse it off. When you take it out, make sure that it drips for at least 7 seconds above that tray before you go on to the next one, which is stop bath, which is going to stop our development. Tap the corners and agitate, and I would go ahead and count in my head 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and so on until you get to 5. Drip for 7 seconds. Then you're going to take it to the fixer. When you place in the tray, make sure that all 4 corners are pushed down and you begin to agitate immediately. This is the longest chemical process. This is for 3 to 5 minutes, minimum 3 minutes, and you're going to stay agitating that tray the entire 3 minutes. When the 3 minutes is up, make sure you take it to the rinse. This is for 10 minutes before you hang to dry. If you'd like to see the exposure on the light, you can take it out early. So I recommend at least 1 minute in the rinse. Take it out, put it in the tray. Make sure you have those tongs. Do not touch the test strip with your hands whatsoever. Go ahead, take out your test strip into the white light. Check out the exposure. I definitely think one side looks much better, but I'm going to show you with the board how I started with 25, 20, 15, 10, and then that last section is 5, which I think looks best. Now I'm ready to make my second test strip all at one time, which I went with 5 seconds for the exposure. And I'm looking for all ranges of value, white, black, and a variety of grays. So that I found at 5 seconds on my first test strip, and when I ran my second one all at 5, I can see all those values very clearly. So I'm ready to make my final print. Now I'm ready to make my 8x10 print. So I'm going to use a full sheet of paper this time and run the exposure for 5 seconds. After I process the paper, I'm going to take a look at it in the tray out in the white light, looking at the exposure and the variation of values. When you're done with all your test strips and prints, please squeegee them off and hang them to dry in the backboard. Please make sure they're not touching as they dry. They will stick together. So what I like to do is hang them from the corner at an angle, all in the same direction to avoid any touching. Make sure you get everything out of the water wash. And make sure your hands are dry before you go back to clean up your enlarger.